I'm Alan Shepard, and I'm visiting the Center for Avian Research here at Western University. Today I'm meeting two of our researchers, Beth McDougall-Shackleton and Chris Guglielmo, to get a tour of this amazing place and learn about their work involving migratory birds.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Hi, Alan. Welcome to Afar.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
excited.
I mean, this entire structure is devoted to birds.
We envisioned this building, this facility for avian research. This was probably the place already with the biggest concentration of people interested in birds in Canada, maybe in the world. All the captive research happens here, as well as a lot of genetic work and microscopy, lab analysis.
Okay,
So yeah, this is like ground zero for bird research.
Let's make it unique. Let's do stuff that no one's ever been able to do before. Welcome to the Afar Wind Tunnel. The only one in the world where we can control the atmosphere that birds fly in. It's specially designed so that we can get migratory flights that mimic what they do in nature. Everything's computer controlled, so we can select, the wind speed we want, the temperature. We can choose a rate of climb for altitude, and if we want to fly at 3,000 meters, we set it for 3,000 meters. So let's go inside. Like going into a submarine here.
Yep. It's smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so the wind is coming around this way. It comes from upstairs. It goes through this
So they're
funnel.
flying into the wind.
And they basically don't fly anywhere, right? They fly right here?
In fact,
So it's like being on a treadmill or one
Yeah,
of those
right,
flume
right.
pools or something.
Yeah, okay.
so they'll be flying in place here.
Oh, yeah.
She's ready to go.
Not looking too panicked, but ready to fly.
Just a matter of letting go. We try to understand how the bird works inside so that we understand better how it responds to these changes in the environment. So, for instance, if it's doing a migratory flight, but the air temperature is now warmer than it used to be, or it's drier than it used to be, that will affect its energy use and its water balance, and it might have to stop shorter than it would have. We can simulate those conditions, and we can predict how they'll respond to these environmental changes.
The total abundance of birds in North America has dropped by about 30%. So that's about 3 billion birds fewer now than in 1970s.
3 billion less?
3 billion
Just in
fewer
North
birds.
America. So, yeah.
Wow.
And there's many reasons for this.
There's habitat fragmentation issues, there's habitat loss, urbanization, but there's also climate change.
It's often really difficult to sort of understand the relationship between some piece of evidence to extrapolate out like the larger consequences.
This is a really cool room. There are chickadees involved in a study of spatial memory. Can you remember when you last saw a sunflower seed in this hole, or when did you last see a mealworm in this hole? And specifically, the student looking at this is examining how artificial light at night, which is increasingly a problem in urban centers, how that disrupts the birds' sleep, which in turn might disrupt their memory.
Right, so too much light in their memory is degraded.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Birds play such a critical role in the whole ecosystem of life, I assume.
They have all sorts of ecosystem
They eat
services.
mosquitoes,
They
appreciative
control insects like mosquitoes. They pollinate plants.
Yeah.
We know the climate is changing, and birds are really, really good sentinels of a changing climate and changing habitat, especially migratory birds, because they don't just need good, nice, pristine habitat around here, their breeding grounds, to survive, but they also need places to stop and refuel during migration. And so everything has to be in place.
One of the earliest signs of changing climate is going to be changes in the timing and movement patterns of animals.
With consequences for all of us, right?
Yeah, we really have to understand movement ecology if we're going to try to make advances in wildlife conservation.
Yeah.
Many of us in the center are focusing on large-scale migratory patterns and lots of radio tracking that's been revolutionized by the miniaturization of electronics. Like, we can put a 300 milligram radio tag on one of those yellow rump warblers and track it for months.
Yeah.
So now we're building up a good picture of not just where big birds are going because they can carry these big backpacks.
Yeah.
We're building up pictures of where all these small species are going. And what we're going to see as the climate changes is changes in the patterns of movement. You know, sometimes you need to do those studies to nail down this causation to why the birds are disappearing.
Must make a very magnetic environment for grad students.
Yeah, once we have that critical mass, it helps us attract the very
Feeds on
best grad
itself.
students because it's a great training environment for them. There's all sorts of opportunities for collaboration. So if somebody's interested in, you know, disease ecology like I do, but also migration physiology like Chris does, we've co-supervised people that have combined both of those. Yeah.
I do think that, I would say this is true across the university, that you're seeing more and more convergence of disciplines.
Because there's so much to know, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and nobody can know it all.
So we wanted to make space for everybody to come together and then let it go.
Off it
job.
goes. Well, we went right for the trees. That was very fun.